We all feel it, right? That constant need for more battery life. Our phones, our laptops, our cars. We just want them to last longer, charge faster, and somehow fit into these impossibly thin gadgets. But for what feels like forever, the technology has just felt, well, stuck.
So what gives? Why does it feel like we're always waiting for that one big breakthrough that's just around the corner? Well, the answer is actually a lot smaller and way more fascinating than you might think.
You see, the problem isn't the entire battery. Nope, it's one specific, supercritical part that has basically hit its physical limit. We're talking about the anode. That's the part inside the battery that grabs and holds all the energy when you plug it in to charge.
And for decades, that anode has been made of, get this, graphite. Yeah, the same stuff that's in a pencil. It's been the reliable old workhorse for ages, but that's the thing. It's old. Its ability to store energy is the exact bottleneck that's been holding back all our devices. So to smash through that limit, scientists started looking for a new champion, an element that's incredibly common and has the potential to totally change the game. And that challenger is silicon.
All right, so let's put these two head to head. In one corner, you've got graphite, the dependable but pretty limited standard. And in the other corner, you have silicon, the high-capacity challenger that promises a massive, massive leap forward.
And when I say massive, I mean wow. Just look at this. On paper, graphite's capacity tops out around 372 milliamp hours per gram, and silicon, it clocks in at an insane 4,200. That's more than 10 times the energy storage. It's not just a small step up, it's a whole different ballgame.
So you're probably asking the obvious question. If silicon is that amazing, why isn't it in every battery we own? Well, it turns out this superstar element has a fatal flaw, a really big, almost catastrophic one. This number right here, this is the problem. 300 to 400%. That's how much silicon swells up when it absorbs all those lithium ions during charging. It literally inhales and expands to 4 times its original size.
And as you can imagine, that kind of expansion is just devastating. The silicon physically cracks, it pulverizes, it basically turns into useless dust. All that repeated stress just completely destroys the anode, and poof, the battery dies a very, very quick death.
So the genius idea wasn't to give up on silicon, but to figure out how to tame it. And the solution is just brilliant. You don't use pure silicon. Instead, engineers created this perfect partnership by combining it with the very material it was supposed to replace, carbon.
They call it a silicon-carbon composite. The idea is to take these teeny tiny nanoscale particles of silicon and embed them inside a flexible, supportive carbon structure. You can think of the carbon like a strong but stretchy cage that holds the silicon, giving it room to expand and contract safely without breaking itself apart. So how do you make this stuff? It's a pretty fascinating process, actually. It starts by mixing the key ingredients: silicon, some graphene oxide, and, believe it or not, glucose, basically just sugar. This whole concoction gets sprayed into tiny droplets, and as it dries, the materials just sort of self-assemble. One final blast of heat, and you've got your finished, stable composite.
This schematic really shows you what's going on. You can see the raw materials coming together to build that final clever structure on the right. It's that precise nano-level design that's the secret sauce here. It's what lets the silicon do its high-energy job without self-destructing.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this tech actually stack up out in the real world? Let's take a look at the scorecard, the actual benefits we're seeing today, and the challenges that are still left to solve.
The benefits are very real. We're talking up to 30% more energy packed into the exact same space. That means longer range electric cars that don't weigh more, and thinner phones that actually last all day. And this isn't science fiction, okay? This tech is already shipping in some flagship smartphones. Oh, and it lets them charge a whole lot faster too.
And the proof is right here. Now, I know there's a lot going on in this graph, but the only thing you need to focus on is that steady red line. It shows the battery holding a stable charge over 250 cycles. That's the evidence. It proves that the carbon cage is working, preventing that catastrophic failure and giving the battery a real, practical lifespan.
But look, it's not perfect. That expansion, even though it's managed, still happens. And over hundreds or thousands of charges, that can still cause the battery to degrade. Manufacturing this stuff is also way more complex and expensive than making simple graphite anodes. And scaling production up to meet global demand for things like EVs, well, that's a massive industrial hurdle. So what's this all mean for the future of our batteries?
Well, it's probably best to think of silicon carbon not as the final destination, but as a critical, absolutely necessary bridge to get us there.
This timeline really puts it all into perspective. We came from the age of pure graphite. Right now, we are firmly in the era of these silicon-carbon composites. And this technology is what's paving the way for the next great leap, what many people think will be even safer and more powerful solid-state batteries.
And this quote from the research really sums it up perfectly. Silicon carbon is the essential evolutionary step that's making our devices better right now, while all the smart people keep working on solving the even bigger challenges for the next generation of energy storage. So when you boil it all down, silicon carbon tech is a major leap forward, one that's already in your pocket, quietly solving a massive physics problem. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Is the battery of tomorrow already here, just working away behind the scenes? Or is this just the first really exciting preview of the true revolution that's still to come?